We begin tonight with the latest on 2 mass shootings from over the weekend that left 31 people dead. I'm Shannon Heggie.
And I'm Steve Nielsen. Governor Gina Raimondo has directed all U.S. and state flags to fly at half-staff in Rhode Island in honor of the victims of the shootings in Texas and Ohio. In the wake of the tragedies, the Justice Department have pushed for a new federal law specifically making mass shootings a capital crime. DOJ officials are working to follow President Trump's order to come up with legislative fixes to try to end mass shootings.
A celebrity who went to high school in El Paso, Texas, is looking to show support. Today, singer Khalid shared on Twitter that he's planning a benefit concert later this month, with all of the proceeds going to families affected by the Walmart shooting.
Eyewitness News reporter Hillary Lane is in El Paso with the latest developments.
2 tragedies of gun violence claimed lives in Texas and Ohio over the weekend. 22 people were killed after a gunman opened fire at a Walmart in the border town of El Paso, Texas, Saturday.
This was an act of domestic terrorism fueled by hate.
Stephanie Melendez's father, David Johnson, died shielding his wife and 9-year-old granddaughter.
My mom and my daughter wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him and what he did.
Maribel Latine was shot in the legs and survived.
I had to pretend I was dead, and he was right next to me, and he shot 8 more rounds.
The accused gunman is being held without bond, charged with capital murder. Mourners have been stopping by this memorial in El Paso to pay their respects. It's a grief shared in another community nearly 1,600 miles away in Dayton, Ohio. That's where a gunman killed 9 people, including his own sister, in a popular nightlife district early Sunday morning. Police closed in and killed him, all of it occurring in less than a minute. Caitlin Mouget escaped the massacre.
One shooting here, one shooting there, shooting here, shooting there. Like, when is change actually going to happen?
President Trump condemned hate and bigotry and stressed combating mental illness, but he stopped short of calling for new gun laws.
We can and will stop this evil contagion.
Democratic lawmakers are pressing Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to bring a House-passed background check bill up for a vote.
It was Hillary Lane with that report. El Paso's mayor says President Trump is planning to visit there on Wednesday.
These shootings have reignited the discussion about gun control and gun rights. Tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Caroline Goggin shares reaction from both sides of the debate. She's live in Woonsocket with more. Caroline?
Well, Shannon, we're joining you in Woonsocket because during a city council meeting tonight, a former member of the council pushed for Second Amendment rights. He's hoping the city of Woonsocket can become a Second Amendment sanctuary city. His push in that discussion comes as gun safety and gun control are once again top of mind for people across the country. People across the United States are reeling from 2 mass shootings in less than 24 hours. The first at a Walmart in El Paso Saturday that left 22 people dead. Hours later, 9 more were killed during an early morning shooting in Dayton.
In one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy.
Officials have called the shooting in Texas a case of domestic terrorism. In Ohio, police say the gun the suspect used was legally purchased but modified to function like an assault rifle.
People are not safe in schools and in movie theaters and places of worship.
Monday afternoon, we spoke with Rhode Island Congressman David Cicilline, who's now calling on his colleagues in Congress to end their recess and return for an emergency session. He hopes they can pass gun safety legislation. During our interview, Cicilline also denied the president's claim that there's a connection between violent video games and mass shootings.
Look, video games exist in places all over the world, and nobody has a gun violence epidemic like America. It is because it is too easy to get your hands on a gun.
On a local level, there was another push Monday night in another Rhode Island community to protect Second Amendment rights. During a Woonsocket City Council meeting, former Councilman Richard Fagnan urged the council to make Woonsocket a Second Amendment sanctuary, meaning the constitutional right to bear arms won't be infringed in their city, regardless of what gun-related bills the General Assembly passes in the future. The council didn't take up the resolution Monday night, but that didn't stop people from speaking up.
We are simply asking that you make a public statement showing your support of the Second Amendment of the Constitution.
States such as Texas and Ohio have very lax gun laws, and this weekend proves they don't work.
And the discussion about the Second Amendment sanctuary status was not continued during tonight's City Council meeting because of a technicality. Former Councilman Fagnett says he hopes to bring it up once again during the Council's September meeting. Reporting live in Woonsocket tonight, I'm Caroline Goggin, Eyewitness News.